In today's class, we're going to be teaching you how to multiply with fractions using the standard algorithm. And so basically all you're going to do is you're going to multiply the numerators and the denominators. Done and done. Is it really that easy? Yes, it really is. And so let's say that we are multiplying a half times a half. We would simply multiply across to get our top number and multiply across to get a bottom number. Now wait a second. I used multiplication. Isn't my answer supposed to get bigger? Why did it get smaller? A fourth is smaller than a half because when we multiply by an amount less than 1, our original number actually does get smaller. So if you want to think of this on a picture, if we had a half, but we only had it half of the time, we would actually have 1/4. And this is something that's kind of related to division, but we'll talk about that next week. For today, the only other thing I want to tell you about in this short tutorial, this is not really required of you this year. It's more like a 6th grade skill that I think is so important to teach kids early. So I usually just teach you in 5th grade because I think it's pretty cool. Let's say that you are multiplying 3/5 times 10 over 12. Okay, you could just multiply across and get 30, and then multiply across here and get 60, and then maybe you would be able to see that this could be simplified into 1/2. That's great, except for why would I want to do all this crazy big number stuff if I could skip it with simplifying? Let me show you how. Basically, only when you are multiplying a fraction does this work. And basically what you do is you eyeball the top numbers and you see what numbers you have, 3 and 10, and you eyeball the bottom numbers, I've got a 5 and a 12, and you look for common factors. Next, we're going to simplify. Whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. And for some kids, I've noticed this just in years past, that sometimes kids will actually even like attach this bar and think of it kind of like 3 times 10 and 5 times 12. Now I'm going to divide the top number and the bottom number by any factors that they have in common. And I can see that I can actually divide the top by 5 and the bottom by 5. So I'm going to do that. 5 divided by 5 turns into a 1. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. And 10 divided by 5 gives 2. But guess what? I'm not done yet. I can see something else that I can do. Something else I can do is I can divide the top by 3. 3 divided by 3 turns into 1. And 12 divided by 3 turns into 4. And last but not least, one more time, I can divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. A million years ago, a kid started calling this the hash slinging slasher. That is not a math term, okay? That is a SpongeBob term. But if you ever hear me say, you should try the hash slinging slasher, that's just a shortcut for saying, why don't you simplify before you multiply so that you can just end up with the simplified fraction, boom, in one step. It's actually a lot faster. This might be a little too crazy for some of you, but some of you are going to pick it up like an old sock or something like that. Okay, enjoy.